My name is Leo Keres. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. And today I'm going to be talking about the boards. It's a question of the day. The question is, what about the boards, Leo? It's a very, very vague question because there's so many things to talk about the boards. And it's going to be a little bit longer of a video. It's going to be slightly complicated, a few things, but the whole system is very complicated. If you watch my previous videos, you know that you should go ahead, like this video, share with your friends, leave a comment, a suggestion, something that you like or dislike down below. Make sure you subscribe, and I'm going to continue to bring some interesting things here straight to you. All right, let's go for the question of the day. So the question of the day is about the boards. Leo, can you please tell me a little bit more about the boards? And I will tell you a little bit more about the boards, but the main thing that I want to tell you beforehand is that the word boards can have many, many different meanings here in the dental setting in the United States. So there are 3 different boards that you're going to hear. And when people don't know much about the whole process, things get really confusing. Get really, really confusing because you have basically 3. National Board Dental Exam, which now is integrated National Board Dental Exam. You're also going to hear people talking about state boards. And you're also going to hear people talking about regional boards. Okay, and there's just 3 different types of boards. And you have to know that they may be connected somehow to each other, but they work very independently. And you need to get information or submit information to each one of them in very different times of your, let's call, dental path in the United States. So let me start with the state board. What is the state board? The state board is basically the, let's call it, institution that each state has one. So North Carolina has one, South Carolina has one, Florida has one, Tennessee has one. Each state has their dental boards. And they are responsible for providing you with a dental license. If you reach the requirement, you're going to submit your application with a bunch of documents. You submit your application, and they are responsible for providing your dental license so you can practice in that state. Why is that important for you to know about this? Because each board is going to have their own rule about what they require for you to have your dental license. So, for example, if you want to work in Florida, you're going to have a certain rules in Florida. If you want to work in North Carolina, the rules are different. If you want to work in New York, it's going to be slightly different. So, during your application process to go through schools, you don't really have to worry about the state boards at all. Okay, you don't have to submit any documentation to the state boards. However, if you have a place that you have to live, you need to live at that certain state, you need to learn the rules of the boards for that state in order to obtain your license. Because I hear people talking about, I want to do orthodontics, but I don't want to do advanced dental program, and I want to live in Florida. And they want to do a specialty in orthodontics, and they want to live in Florida. I'm sorry, with the rules today, that's not going to work out. So you need to plan your path based on what the board of the state that you want to live is talking about the requirements. Based on those requirements, you have to plan your future path. So that's important for you to know about the state board, but it doesn't have anything to do with your application for the dental school or for the specialty program that you're trying to go into. Okay? If you want to know more about this, go to my video. I have another video, 5 pathways to become a dentist in the United States. It's a complete video full of information for you to understand a little bit more about the state boards and the pathways and how you should plan that. But that's basically the state board. Let's talk about number 2 now, the regional board. The regional board, as the name suggests, is a different type of board that includes regions of the United States. It doesn't belong to a certain state. It also doesn't belong to, it's not a national board either. You get some regions of the state. And basically, the state board, see how this gets confusing and how they kind of mix up a little bit? The state board will say, for you to get a license in this state, you need to get X, Y, Z, D, A, B, C. And one of the things is going to be, usually, that you passed the regional boards exam. That's usually one of the requirements. And the institutions that have regional boards are called ADEX, ADEX, CITA, CITA, REB, WREB. There are different institutions that have these boards. So for example, if I want to work in North Carolina, one of the requirements is that I passed I think it's ADEX, CITA ADEX regional boards. So whenever I was in school, in dental school at VCU, I took the ADEX CITA boards and I passed. That was one of the requirements for the state of North Carolina. Again, the regional boards is another thing that you don't really have to worry about your application process. But down the road, you're going to have to take these boards, and you get, as the rules are today at least, you're going to have to take these boards and you're going to have to pass the boards because they are connected with your license. Usually if you don't pass the regional boards, the state board won't grant you a license. There are some things that are coming up in the last few years, especially with COVID, that are changing a little bit. Some states may be dropping the regional boards, but as of now, that's one of the rules. You have to pass the state boards. So you learn now just about the state board. You get an idea about what it is. You have an idea about the regional boards. Now, the main boards that you have to usually take in the beginning is the Integrated National Dental Board Exam. What is the Integrated National Dental Board Exam? It's basically an exam, multiple choice that you're going to have to take. It's 2 days. And guess what? That's also a requirement from the state board for you to get your license. So the state board is going to say that they need X, Y, and Z, like I said before. You're going to need to pass the regional boards. You're going to need to have passed the Integrated National Board's dental exam. So that's another requirement for the state board. But the other thing about the INDBE is that it's also a requirement for you to apply to dental schools for the advanced dental program and some specialty programs. So the INDBE is the first big exam that the vast majority of people have to take in order to apply to the advanced dental program. So you always hear about the INDBE. You may hear a little bit about state board and regional board, because everybody's just focused on the INDBE, and that's fine. But if you want to apply to pretty much every single advanced dental program, you have to take the INDBE, and that's the national board. So it gets confusing because you have 3 things. They are separate, but they have some connections in between them, and people get a little bit confused. So the national board exam is a theoretical exam that you're going to have to take pretty much no matter what to get your unrestricted license. There's like one exception to the rule. The regional board is another exam that's theory and practice that you have to take also to get your license. And the state board, you have to take a very easy written exam or a multiple choice exam, but the state board is who's going to grant you your license to practice. So a lot of people think that like, oh, I graduated from school, I get my degree, I have my license to practice. No, you don't have your license to practice. You have to submit your documentation to the state board. And that documentation is going to include a passing the INDBE, passing the regional boards, plus a few other things. And then the state's going to be like, hey, Leo, yes, you can work in this state. Here's your license. I told you it was going to get a little bit confusing because it is confusing. It's a lot of institutions, but I hope you get the big picture. If you have questions, leave it down here, share with your friends, and I'm going to see you in the next video.